This is Markin Out. Pro wrestling talk by pro wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro wrestling talk by pro wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking out. Pro wrestling talk by pro wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro wrestling talk by pro wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro wrestling talk by pro wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling Fans. This is episode 711. So that being said, make sure that you are checking us out at markinout.com. You can check us out on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you are listening to podcasts. Make sure that you subscribe and give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. Give us a follow on Twitter at Markin Out. Give us a follow on Instagram at MarkinOut11. Give us a follow on TikTok at Markin Out. Buy a t-shirt, ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut. Also, check me out, Dave the Rave, on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Brandon at BTTG161 and Chris at Chris Swingdog on Twitter and CMSweeney85 on Insta. That being said, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I am doing good. Doing good.
How was your week?
Oh, good question. I did not know you were going to ask that one. It was actually a good week. It went by very quickly, thank goodness, because I feel like I just needed, this entire week, I just felt internally that I needed a fast week. So I'm glad that work went by really, really quickly.
No Mets games this week?
Nope.
What are your thoughts and opinions on that Grimace seat?
Oh, so Grimace-wise, hey, we're winning.
Who's we?
I'm gonna right now with us being in the chase.
They?
No, we
They?
are part of them.
No.
Hey, if the seats were empty,
No, we're in the WWE universe. We're in the AEW galaxy. We're not on the Mets. We're
in the Mets
WWE.
multiverse.
Well, I don't think that's what it's called, but
It should be.
Grimaces.
But we are. It is a we. Without us, there is no them, because let's face it, if we're not showing up and watching their games and stuff, they're not getting paid. So it's an us.
I'm not showing up and watching those games.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah. But they're doing
I like
good.
Going to the Mets. Yeah, well,
it's exciting.
I
Exciting.
just thought it was interesting that they added the one purple seat.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it kind of goes with the everything going crazy over the trumpets for the year, and then at the end of the year they end up tanking. So let's see what happens.
Well.
So far, we'll see what happens.
But far as
you had a good week,
yeah, it was decent. I did not really do much on my weekly excursion to the Cheesecake Factory. I had a reward, a free slice of cheesecake. And nice. I figured since fall was coming, their pumpkin cheesecake is back, so I figured I would try it. Not something I would get again.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad, but I don't need to eat something like that.
I don't know. I would try that.
Pumpkin cheesecake. There's nothing to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I also tried. I feel like I've already spoken about it on the show. The Costco cookie, the double chocolate chunk cookie.
Yeah.
That blew up, obviously, more so recently with the Costco guys doing the double chunk chocolate cookie, which they say it wrong. What do you mean, why? Why did it blow up?
Yeah.
I don't know. It went viral on TikTok. They bring the boom. They were on AEW, but, whatever. But BJ's, very much so like Costco, now has their own large, it's called the Colossal chocolate chunk cookie, I believe. You get 3 of them in a box. It is huge. So much, I think it's way bigger than the Costco cookie, but it's not as good as that Costco cookie. So 100% if you're going to choose between Costco or BJ's there for those cookies, it's 100% Costco's.
I've never had them.
It was quite unfortunate. Also, yeah, well, the BJ's one I think just came out probably this week.
I mean, usually if I get anything when I go to BJ's, it's the like $9.99 package of cookies.
Yeah, so
it's incredible that they increased the prices.
Well, $9.99,
like $6.99 and then $7.99.
Really? Well, regardless, the Costco cookies, they still have those multi packs of cookies as well. But the best cookie that they sell is at the food stand.
Mm-hmm.
So I was quite disappointed, especially because of how big the one at BJ's was. I was quite disappointed with it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I also made more homemade sauce. I made more homemade meatballs again, and that's all I did.
Nice, that's cool.
Watched a bunch of wrestling.
There you go. Well, talking about wrestling, let's get on to some Monday Night Raw talk.
Opened with
good old CM Punk.
Good old
Punker.
CM Punk, which was a continuous shot. How'd you like that? He pulled up and then took off his Bret Hart shirt to come out in a CM Punk shirt. Basically, though, he said, I didn't understand what he parked in like the most random spot. I guess he had VIP parking.
Yeah, when you see him Punk,
and a lot of people were the IWC kind of going crazy with the similarities between him and Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, with the way Jack Perry's been pulling up in his bus. Mm-hmm. But CM Punk didn't litter, so good on CM Punk. Obviously, he comes out. He said that the only way to end this with him and Drew McIntyre is Hell in a Cell, which I think is funny. I think the very first time he showed up at a press conference, somebody asked him about Hell in a Cell, and he said absolutely not. If I might be mistaken, but I think that might have been the case. But he also said that he has 0 Hell in a Cell matches left in him. And people have asked him not to do it, but he's going to. He has to. And he's going to make Drew McIntyre bleed. He's prepared for this to be the end of CM Punk. He's prepared to die. Tell me that ain't good setup for Hell in a Cell.
You know, it's going to be pretty intense, especially with Hell in a Cell now. And you have CM Punk pretty much telling you what's going to be taking place, and you don't want to miss out on watching that.
Yeah.
But next up, you had Pete Dunne pick up the victory over Sheamus. I'm glad to see Sheamus getting back into shape after everybody was poking fun at him.
It was 1 week.
The guy's shredded
He
now.
did that in 1 week.
Yeah.
That was it. Months ago.
He got shredded real quick.
1 week. It was literally like that was all it was.
Mm-hmm.
But this match took place. Pete Dunne, according to Sheamus, took his Intercontinental Championship shot away. So he's bringing the pain to Pete Dunne. Pretty good match. I think Pete Dunne definitely benefited from it. And he went to use that shillelagh. Sheamus hit him with the knee. And then the referee took that shillelagh from Sheamus. And Pete Dunne breaks out a cricket bat, hits Sheamus with it, and gets the win off of that.
Yeah. Next up, you had Natalya pick up the victory over Zoe Stark. Not?
Why didn't you say Zoe Stark?
I don't know.
Who's Z Stark to you?
Z Stark. Stark.
I thought this was a decent match. I was very much so torn on who I wanted to win because Natty just came back, so I wanted her to win, but I also feel like Zoe needs singles victories.
I agree.
But they did a bunch of pin reversals, and Natty rolled her up. The pin that Natty used to actually win the match, I thought was very nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that. After that, we had Jey Uso, almost, I feel like, immediately interrupted by Braun Breaker. And he said that he's managed to do more as a single star in 6 months than Jey has done his whole career in WWE. And he did it without his father. He did it without his uncle. don't know how much. I mean, you could say 6 months for the past 6 months. No, he hasn't had Scott and Rick. But we've seen. I mean, they showed them at WrestleMania, so I don't know.
Yeah, they were in the. Yeah, they were in the stands.
Yeah, I guess it's semantics, but Braun Breaker said that Jay is nothing without his family, and Jey Uso mentioned Braun Breaker not making the NFL, and it came to blows after that. Jay ends up hitting a spear on Braun Breaker. And this whole segment, this felt like hype for a match for a premium live event. So I don't know if it's going to main event Monday Night Raw next week, but I really hope that Intercontinental, I feel like it has to. The way Triple H has treated the Intercontinental Championship, I feel like it's going to main event Monday Night Raw next week.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it has to. No?
Yeah, I think so. That was a very, very good segment to me.
Yeah, I think it really has to be.
After that, we saw the Judgment Day pick up the victory over the New Day to retain the Tag Team Championships, their first televised defense since winning the titles back in June. New Day basically had the momentum here, but Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito showed up. The LWO showed up. Kofi takes all of them out, and Xavier Woods was about to win. They made the referee look stupid. I hated that.
This had AEW written all over it referee-wise.
I hated that. And it's not even a referee who would normally look stupid. I don't think any of the referees in WWE normally look stupid.
No, but this was, like, I hate how there's no reason for them to leave the ring.
It made no sense. Obviously, it made sense for them to do the ending that they wanted to do. But realistically, the referee should always be focused on what's going on in the ring.
100%.
I understand sometimes there's outside distractions. Somebody gets up on the apron. That makes sense. Kofi Kingston was not the legal competitor. It just made no sense at all.
I agree with you.
Off of that, Xavier Woods was super pissed off after the match, yelled at Kofi Kingston before leaving, and then he got into an argument with the LWO later on, and it turned out that Kofi Kingston told them to be out there for New Day.
Which, I guess maybe they're still going to be moving forward with with Woods going after Kofi at some point.
I mean...
Which is a relief because... it was a relief because going into this, I was really frustrated with the direction of the New Day after we could have only thought that maybe they were going to drop everything with Woods, so I'm glad that they didn't.
And Xavier Woods had good points in that argument with Kofi, so...
100% he did.
Kofi Kingston didn't let him know what was going on. Dumb. That was dumb. You're a tag team for a decade or whatever.
Keep him in the loop. But
I'm not going to let my partner know what's going on. Makes no sense.
Exactly. I agree. Next up was an incredible moment on Monday Night Raw. It was Bronson Reed taking on Braun Strowman, and it ended in a no contest, but this was just two beefy men going at it.
Yeah. Like Mankind.
Yeah, this was intense. This was Mick Foley approved, and wow, these guys definitely delivered.
The match started off with Braun Strowman sending Bronson Reed into the rope. The top rope snapped.
Mm-hmm.
Bronson Reed ends up throwing a guy into Braun Strowman at one point. A fan, in quotes. Strowman ran right through Bronson Reed and through the barricade, and they continued brawling backstage, and then continued going through things like tables, and it ends, they go through a wall. This wall looked like it actually should have been there. Obviously, it was drywall, so no, it was not an actual wall.
Yeah.
But I like when you're going through a wall like that, it makes sense to be there.
Yeah, it was a clean break. I love the spot where Bronson Reed threw the fan at Braun Strowman. I thought that was a solid spot. It there was so many spots of this that was just fun and enjoyable. I mean, then right after that, you had Braun Strowman put him through the barricade, which was just so much fun. This was just nonstop.
There was a new QR code this week, though, with the Wyatt 6, and it said, "We see you, brother. When you need us, we will be there." And I don't know if this is obviously a reference to Braun Strowman or not.
Oh, because it was right after it, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was right after that, but
I feel like it was around that time. I didn't even... Interesting.
It led to a website, and people were like falsely reporting, "Oh, Alexa Bliss, blah blah blah," and it's like, no. That entry has been there before they debuted.
Maybe they were talking to Hulk Hogan.
No, what does that mean?
With the brother?
What?
I mean, they see you, brother.
Oh, I don't think so. They're gonna jump Hogan?
Maybe.
I don't think so. Yeah, so I was slated to work the
Wyatt 6, they announced Hulk Hogan to be at the first episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix or something.
That's not happening.
And then we're going to be like, "Ha! We knew it."
No. Sami Zayn showed up after that. We saw Ludwig Kaiser spoke to Adam Pearce about finding a suitable opponent for Gunther. And Adam Pearce was like, "Well, I think Sami Zayn fits." And Sami spoke about Gunther turning him down week after week for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship because he's not on Gunther's level. And Sami said that he doesn't believe that, nor does he think that Gunther believes that. And he also said that Gunther's scared to face him. And then Kaiser came out and said miracles don't happen twice, alluding to Sami Zayn taking the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther. And Sami said that he knows Gunther doesn't need Kaiser for anything, but he also doesn't think that Kaiser needs Gunther. Maybe planting or trying to plant seeds of well, I don't actually need to be here with Gunther in his head. Gunther finally showed up and asked Kaiser if he had anything to say. And he said yes, and then he attacked Sami Zayn. Gunther again turned Sami down, and Ludwig Kaiser went to attack Sami again, but Sami reversed it and put Ludwig Kaiser down. Obviously, it's going to lead to Sami Zayn and Gunther for that World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe it gets 100% set up next week. The event takes place in like 2 weeks, so...
Yeah, we're going to find out very soon with it.
After that, Io Sky picked up the victory over Bianca Belair. Earlier, Io yelled at Bianca Belair about Kairi's eye and still kind of being injured because it was supposed to be Kairi versus Bianca Belair. And she called Bianca a coward. She's like, "You got this match." And Bianca's like, "I didn't challenge Kairi Sane for this. I was booked for this." And then they changed it to Io and Bianca Belair. This match was the best match on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
This was so entertaining.
Smooth. I mean, Io jumping out of the ring doing the dive, just everything's so smooth.
It brought me back to Black and Gold.
What do you mean?
I thought this was Black and Gold. What do you mean? NXT Black and Gold.
Oh, okay.
But this was great. Bianca Belair carried Io up the steps and then dumped her into the ring. I thought that was dope.
That was just impressive.
And then Io reversed that KOD with a pin, a roll-up to get that victory. Just an unbelievably good match to the point where I want to see more between the two of them.
Agreed.
We keep seeing Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I want Bianca Belair and Io.
Yeah, I'm totally on board for that. Main event of the evening, you had Damian Priest pick up the victory over Dirty Dom. I thought it was a fun match, entertaining. There was no way that Dom was going to pick up the victory.
I don't know if I would say no way, because part of me thought that Dominic would. Last week, though, I guess his one win, televised win, it was a fluke, perhaps. But Finn Balor caused a distraction, which allowed for Dominic to get out of the ring at one point. and I don't understand why Adam Pearce didn't ban them from ringside after what happened earlier with the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how you saw what was going on with the Judgment Day there. You know the Judgment Day is in the main event.
Yeah, maybe should have put a stop to that.
Finn Balor ends up sending Damian Priest into the ring post at one point. Liv Morgan gets Dominic's foot on the rope. Rhea Ripley ends up taking Liv Morgan and Wade Barrett out over the commentary table out of nowhere. That, to me, was probably my favorite spot of the match. I thought that was a crazy, crazy spot.
Yeah, and I like the reaction of the crowd for it, too.
And then Damian Priest took Carlito out. He threw Dominic into Finn Balor. And like I said, I kind of thought Dominic was going to win here. But that didn't happen. And immediately following the match, the Judgment Day jumped Damian Priest. And Jey Uso ran out. He gets rocked with a spear out of nowhere. And I'm like, who the hell is that? I completely, for some reason, my mind just didn't go to Braun Breaker. And it was Braun Breaker who threw a crazy nice spear at Jey Uso there, getting him back for the spear earlier. Yeah, even that alternate angle from WWE, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But the Judgment Day continued the beatdown on the Terror Twins. Part of me thought Ilya Dragunov was going to maybe run down. And Ilya and Jey Uso would like team up here to take out the Judgment Day for Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. But once you had Jey Uso out of it from Braun Breaker, that was it. There was no involvement from Ilya Dragunov there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very well done. This was a good episode of Monday Night Raw.
I 100% agree with you. I thought it was a solid Monday Night Raw for sure.
Moving over to NXT, it opened with the Ethan Page and Trick Williams contract signing, where they go back and forth. Ethan Page takes a cheap shot and puts Trick Williams through the table. I don't really foresee Trick Williams gaining back the championship, or at least I don't want to see that. But this segment, nobody signed that contract, which might be a first for a contract signing that I've ever seen, at least. Do you recall ever seeing a contract signing where the contract didn't get signed? I can't recall.
No. Usually it always gets signed, no?
But we'll put a pin in that and talk about it again later on. The first match of the evening saw Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley pick up the victory over Rosemary and Wendy Choo. I like this match. I fully expected for Rosemary and Wendy Choo to lose this. But after Rosemary hit that spear, I was like, well, maybe that's it. Maybe Rosemary's going to pick up that victory. Tatum Paxley got her foot on the rope at the very last second. I thought that was a very well done spot between the two of them there.
Yeah.
And then Lyra Valkyria pulled Wendy Choo out of the ring. Tatum Paxley hit her finisher. She tagged Lyra Valkyria in. She hit that diving leg drop to pick up the victory. And probably... I've lost what I was going to say. I was going to say something with Tatum Paxley being super happy, but I don't know the sentence I wanted to say to get there.
I think you could go with what you just said.
After that, we saw Hammerstone pick up the victory over Tony D'Angelo via countout. Tony D'Angelo tried to get Hammerstone to go to Ava and get another match with Obafemi to take him out this time, because he was hired by Tony to, I guess, take Obafemi out. And Hammerstone was like, do it yourself. And that turned into this match. Obafemi watched this from the back, and when Tony D'Angelo left the ring, Obafemi laughed, and he's like, he's broken. And Tony D'Angelo took that count out and left. And later on, the family ends up questioning Tony about what happened, and he snaps, and he's like, I'm afraid. Which I thought was very good. Even later on Adriana Rizzo spoke to him, and she's like, I'm afraid too. And she hyped up Tony D'Angelo. I've never seen any of the Rocky movies at all. I thought this was the 3 segments that they did with the D'Angelo family, I thought was fantastic. And then somebody did like a side-by-side between that and Rocky. I was like, oh, it came just right from Rocky. Or what was it, Rocky 3 or something?
Yeah, I think Rocky 3. It was a direct replica of it.
I thought it was great. I have zero complaints about it. Maybe I should watch Rocky. I don't know.
I mean,
but you didn't. Did you like it? I feel like
you.
Did you like that at all or no?
Nah, I thought, to me it was unoriginal. I didn't find the humor in it if it was copying.
I don't think it was supposed to be humorous at all. We were supposed to, at least for me, it was like a heartstring moment.
It was a direct copy of Rocky, so for me, I don't care.
And for me, it was brand new material.
Yeah.
Although I think CM Punk might have done similar. I'm not 100% sure. After that, Zachary Wentz showed up and grabs a mic and he gets into the ring to show off footage as to why the Rascals were not able to be at NXT last week. And it showed Wes Lee on a security camera attacking Trey Miguel as he was going into his car. And we essentially don't know when Trey Miguel is going to be back. And Zachary Wentz just put Wesley on notice there. So I'm looking forward to seeing their match. I think it's in Chicago, the very first episode of the CW network. That's taking place in like 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, gotta utilize CM Punk for that.
They're not. So
give it time, they will.
They're not. We already know what CM Punk is doing, so they're not going to have CM Punk in multiple segments.
Well, no, but they're going to utilize him in Chicago, I mean.
Yeah, but not anything to do with Wesley.
No, not
Zachary
with Wentz. Yeah, not associated with Wentz.
After that, we saw Eddie Thorpe pick up the victory over Ashanti. The Adonis attacked Eddie Thorpe before the bell rang, but he ends up being distracted by the woman in the crowd that he gave a kiss to on his entrance, and he took his eyes off of Thorpe, and Thorpe picked up the victory off of that. I hope we see something soon bigger with Eddie Thorpe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when. I don't know if we will.
Gotta be soon, I feel.
After that, CM Punk showed up. He put the talent of NXT over, and he said that he begged to be part of the first episode on the CW network in Chicago, and Shawn Michaels went back to his old self and said, you can do whatever you want on the show. And then Roxanne Perez interrupts CM Punk, and she gets into the ring. I feel like she should have just said Marking Out here. But she said her 13-year-old self would be freaking out if she knew this was happening. And he's one of the reasons why she's a WWE superstar.
Yeah, she could have given us the audio clip.
So she was very happy that when CM Punk came back, like, she got to be around him and everything. And then she was like, but I always preferred your wife.
Boom.
And then, probably one of the greatest lines in NXT history, she goes, and then I realized that I should have always been a Drew McIntyre fan. I thought that was fantastic.
That delivery and everything, what a heel.
And then she said, stay home. I don't need you there. Don't show up in Chicago. And then she said when she beats Julia, Chicago's going to be her city. And she threw some CM Punk quotes at him. I thought that was a nice touch from Roxanne Perez. And then Julia came out and said that Roxanne has 2 weeks left. And Roxanne went to attack Julia from behind, and CM Punk stopped her. No announcement from CM Punk at that point. And I'm like, where's the big announcement? I thought for sure he was going to be the referee for Roxanne Perez and Julia.
Yeah, say something.
Big pin in that one. We had Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans pick up the victory over No Quarter Catch Crew. Earlier in the night, though, Charlie Dempsey told Ren Sinclair that she needs to make a name for herself. And Ren Sinclair, Kalani Jordan's doing an interview. And she walks right up to Kalani Jordan and slaps the ever-loving heck out of Kalani Jordan. I was not expecting that. And I thought this was a good match, but Kalani Jordan ran out, which distracted Miles Bourne. And she chased Ren Sinclair around.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tavian Heights should have gotten... he could have used a big win coming back from Japan.
Yeah, that's very true.
But also, we found out on the very first... not the very first, the second episode on tour or whatever, in St. Louis, Randy Orton is going to be facing Javon Evans. So
that's a big spot. And Randy Orton posted on it, Twitter about it.
I think obviously Javon needs that win there to build that up.
He's not picking up the victory over Randy Orton.
And also, well, no, not over Randy Orton, but he needs a victory to maybe look like he can face Randy Orton.
True.
So ultimately, the only person who could have lost that match was Miles Bourne, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that, and I'm very happy with Ren Sinclair and the No Quarter Catch Crew. This should be a fun run. I don't know what more they're gonna do. I don't know if she's gonna get a North American Championship match. I feel like that might be too soon, but she literally went out and slapped the champion. What challenge? Where does that lead to? It has to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Brooks Jensen picked up the victory over Dion Lennox. You had Brooks Jensen ask Sean Spears beforehand. He's like, "Are you coming with?" So Sean Spears was in his corner. We saw Brooks Jensen grab Dion's glasses, and he made fun of them. And then Spears went to grab the glasses afterwards, and he stopped him, but that basically led to the end of the match. Jensen hit a snap DDT off of that distraction.
Yeah, good way to bring about the end. Next up, you had Lola Vice pick up the victory over JC Jane. I thought they delivered really well in this match.
Yeah, Lola Vice kicked Jasmine Nix off the apron before the bell, but she gets up on the apron to distract the referee. Fallon grabbed Lola Vice's leg, but Lola Vice was still able to hit that back fist to pick up the victory. But after the match was over, Fatal Influence attacked Lola Vice, and Jada Parker made the save, and to my surprise, I guess, Lola Vice was pissed off that happened. I thought she would have been fine with Jada trying to make the save there, but she was pissed off. I guess she feels like she had it on her own, but...
Yeah, she didn't want any help.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then NXT closes, another contract signing, or the same contract signing, I guess, continues. I think this was supposed to be Ava's surprise, was Tyrese Halliburton. He showed up earlier and he told Ava that he'll handle the contract signing and make sure that the contract gets signed. He was booed. He was booed when he was shown on the TV in the back. And then he shows up in this main segment, the final segment of the night. People are booing him. The whole Indiana Pacers team is front row, and they're also getting booed. And he said, "Oh, I would boo too if I had to." What did he say? If I had to watch the Orlando Magic or something, or cheer for the Orlando Magic, I forget, something like that. But he bam roasted the people who were in Orlando. So I thought that was like a natural heel thing to do.
I mean, I thought that this was stupid. I mean,
I don't know why the whole team was there, but
exactly having him appear on SmackDown against Jalen Brunson made sense. That made absolute sense.
Yeah, but he went back and forth with HBK on Twitter, and HBK's like, "Oh, stop by."
It's a force.
I don't think that's a force at all. A fan is a fan. I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a force for me.
Well, he got the contract signed, and then Halliburton has the music hit. CM Punk comes back out to make the announcement that he'll be the guest referee between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. And CM Punk was like, since I'm the official, you guys could start fighting right then and there. So they did. It was broken up. Everybody, including CM Punk, was chanting, "Let them fight," which I thought was really funny. And that's how NXT ended. I thought that was a fun ending. So I have zero stake in the NBA. So I don't know Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know about the Indiana Pacers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the Orlando Magic. So when I see something like that, I think it's done well. The whole team being there didn't really make sense, but maybe they just showed up to support him. I don't know. I thought it was a good inclusion of Halliburton.
Yeah, I mean, he is a natural heel.
So that's NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up with LA Knight picking up the victory over Andrade to retain the United States Championship. I like that both of them tried to end things on early on, but a lot of this felt like commercial breaks. What was actually on TV I enjoyed. I like that they recovered from the slip towards the end of that match. That drop kick, the missed spot, I thought was a very nice touch. Backstage, though, Carmelo Hayes told Andrade that he choked in that match, and it turned into a brawl. We saw Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech. It started out like a music video, and then Roman Reigns spoke. They were on the field. Roman spoke about playing there, and how it's his field, it's his stadium, so it's his city. And then he questioned what Cody Rhodes has done for Atlanta, and Cody brought up the Omni. He brought up how multiple generations of his family have bled in that city, and it's his home. And Roman Reigns said that he has nothing to lose. They took the Ula Fala, they took Paul Heyman, they took, well, I guess Cody Rhodes took the WWE Championship. But Cody, on the other hand, has everything to lose. And Cody said that he wants Roman's word that he'll have his back so he can have his back. Roman gave him that word. But when it's all said and done, he's taking back what's his. And Cody's like, it's not yours to take. This was a very, very well done segment. It started out like, why the hell am I watching a music video? But I thought this was great. The way it was filmed and everything was really nice. Then when it cut back to actual backstage TV, Kevin Owens was there watching it. Byron Saxton tried to interview him, and Kevin Owens had nothing to say. Byron tried to get another word in later, like 10 minutes after that, still nothing. And he said, if I'm going to speak on this, I might as well go out to the ring. So Kevin went out to the ring and he spoke about, he was going to talk about Cody and Roman, but the Bloodline showed up. Tama Tonga said that Kevin Owens is going to get what's coming to him by orders of Solo Sikoa, the tribal chief. And then Kevin Owens, like, just get up on the apron. Let me punch you already. Let's see how this goes. He did punch Tama Tonga. He did punch Tongaloa. But when Jacob Fatu got in the ring, the three of them beat him down. DIY made the save. And then Nick Aldis sets this up as the main event of SmackDown. So we'll put a pin in that. In between the Kevin Owens segments, there was Apollo Crews picking up the victory over Giovanni Vinci. Much longer than their match 2 weeks ago, thankfully. I like the series of body slams that Giovanni Vinci did against the rope to Apollo Crews to, I guess, mess with his knee, perhaps. But I don't know what they're doing with Giovanni Vinci here. Vinci was obviously pissed off. There was like a quick victory outside of that. And he attacked Crews. I was surprised that Baron Corbin didn't make the save there, but we'll see what happens with that. After that, we had Bayley and Naomi pick up the victory over Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton in a tornado tag team match. The winner of this match gets a title shot against Nia Jax at Bad Blood. I like that Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton had matching gear. Earlier on, though, Nia Jax told Tiffany Stratton that if she loses, she might want to consider going to Monday Night Raw as well. And Bayley and Naomi worked quite well together in this match. There was that moment where Naomi pulled Bayley off of the pin from Tiffany Stratton. But we had some good moves here. The X Factor from Naomi I thought was nice. Then Tiffany Stratton accidentally hit Nia Jax with a swanton. Bayley and Naomi hit that 1D. And Bayley ends up rolling up Nia Jax. And at the same time, Naomi has that jackknife pin. So I thought that was what other outcome could you have for that match? Really? And then backstage, Nick Aldis said, obviously both of them pinned Nia Jax, but only one of them can have a title shot. So next week, Bayley and Naomi will face off one-on-one. It should be interesting to see what happens with Tiffany Stratton. I still think the match at Bad Blood will end up being Nia Jax and Bayley. You had a segment with Chelsea Green. They filmed a bunch of stuff with her and a dumpster to hype up a match with Mia Yim that will take place in 2 weeks as per suggestion of Vicky Guerrero last week. I thought this was a fun segment. Chelsea, I think, when she does the comedy stuff, it's like spot on. And then we get to the main event of SmackDown. It was supposed to be Kevin Owens and DIY versus the Bloodline. But right before the match took place, you had DIY get attacked backstage by the Bloodline. And Kevin Owens ran up to the entranceway to fight all three of them. They obviously jumped him, but the Street Profits ran down to make the save. This ends in a no contest, but Jacob Fatu, I think, shined the most in this match. We had another good hot tag spot that's like not the normal hot tag spot. Kevin Owens gets tagged in, and instead of going into the ring, he goes outside to take out Tonga Loa. He takes out Jacob Fatu, finally hits that cannonball on Tama Tonga, but soon after that, man, I didn't quite get the referee calling for the bell when he did, but it turned out very, very, very chaotic. The Bloodline go to put Kevin Owens through a table. DIY hobbled down to get back into the mix. They got taken out. And then finally, Cody Rhodes ran out with a steel chair and made the save. I did not even think Cody Rhodes was there. But it ends with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes on top. Kevin Owens standing behind Cody Rhodes with that steel chair. You get that feeling in your throat where you think he's going to do something to Cody Rhodes again. And I think that's crazy that they did that to us again. They hugged, and it just seems like only a matter of time before we see Kevin Owens do something to Cody Rhodes. Be sick and tired of fighting the Bloodline because of Cody Rhodes, maybe? At this point, at least. But this, again, a good episode of SmackDown. Thank God there was no overrun. And right now, I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Jake the Snake Robertson. In case you didn't know it, you're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out, episode 711. Going back to AEW Rampage from last week, the conglomeration picked up the victory over the Dark Order. A very obvious outcome here. A meaningless match. Dark Order pretty much had the match won, but Orange Cassidy is Orange Cassidy. Took the three of them out. Mark Briscoe got the victory. Camille picked up the victory over Robin Renegade. That puts the complete nail in the coffin to my idea with the Renegade twins joining Mercedes and Camille. Roderick Strong picked up the victory over Beef, who was quite over with the crowd, but this match went way too long for me. You had Harley Cameron and Saraya pick up the victory over the Hex. Very nice to see Marty Bell and Allison Kay on television. I don't like AEW using them as enhancement talent, though. And I did not really understand Saraya doing a blind tag in this match. It made Harley Cameron look dumb. But Jamie Hayter showed up afterwards. Saraya took off and left Harley Cameron there to get clocked. I don't think this return for Jamie Hayter has been doing anything for Jamie Hayter. She returned during the pre-show of your biggest event of the year, and you just keep her on Rampage? That makes sense. Main event saw Takeshita pick up the victory over Action Andretti. That rolling thunder from Action Andretti through the ropes off the apron was probably the best spot of Rampage. Takeshita had the match won. He pulled Action Andretti up to do more damage before he got the actual victory. On Collision, Action Andretti was very pissed off that all of them, Top Flight, lost. And then moving over to Collision, Jack Perry picked up the victory over Christopher Daniels to retain. The thing that confused me the most about this was why, during his entrance, why did he litter? He pulled up with the bus and he threw a bottle or a cup or something. What was the point of that? What does that add to his character? This match, Christopher Daniels wanted to prove that he's still, even though he's an interim EVP, he wanted to remind people that he was still a wrestler. Whatever. You had Hologram in the conglomeration pick up the victory over Black Taurus and the Premier Athletes. I think it is very clear that there was no direction at all for Hologram. And as much as I like the Premier Athletes, I would have just preferred to see Hologram versus Black Taurus again than we see any other match. It's a meaningless 6-man tag. Black Taurus has done nothing. Hologram has had 9 matches in AEW. 3 of them were singles matches. 3 losses for Black Taurus. 4 losses for the Premier Athletes. The last televised victory for the Premier Athletes against people actually signed to AEW was October 2022. They beat Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. And obviously Pillman's not even in AEW anymore. Black Taurus, I'll speak more about that later. He's got 1 victory. And that was a 6-man tag. Why should anybody care about the Premier Athletes? Why should anybody care about Black Taurus? And you keep putting Hologram in these random matches. Why should anybody care about Hologram? After that, Wheeler Yuta picked up the victory over Anthony Henry. Given how distracted Wheeler Yuta was earlier when he was talking about what happened at All Out, I feel like he should have been like totally out of it for this match and lost. I did like that he was out of it for the match, but it at times came off as clumsy rather than like lost. Not lost, but I guess just focused on Bryan Danielson. But at a certain point, Anthony Henry mentioned Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta snapped. So I liked that aspect of it. I just think I would have preferred for Wheeler Yuta to build up victories where it's like, I'm completely distracted. I lost. And then the next match, maybe something like Bryan Danielson gets mentioned and boom, he gets fired up. You had Commander and Private Party pick up the victory over John Cruz, Lord Crew, and Ren Jones. I think this was the match that we were supposed to see last week, and I feel like everybody could have done without this match. Yuka Sakazaki picked up the victory over Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb spoke to Queen Aminata earlier, and she was very cocky about this match. And I get that they wanted to tell this story between Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata, and they want to have Yuka be built back up to face Mariah May, perhaps. But too many things are happening at one time here. Outside of the one spot that was like iffy in this, I think this match was enjoyable. But Mariah May attacked Yuka afterwards. Yuka gets the upper hand and leaves. And then Queen Aminata jokingly questioned Serena Deeb after about getting things done. Later on, Queen Aminata picked up the victory over Robin Renegade. Renegade got some offense in, but Queen Aminata pretty much dominated this match, rightfully so. And then Serena Deeb attacked her. And it all sets up a random tag team match on Dynamite where Yuka Sakazaki and Queen Aminata picked up the victory over Mariah May and Serena Deeb via disqualification. I don't think Mariah May, the champion, should be losing. I don't think if you're going to be building up Yuka that she should be losing either. So for me, this was a lose-lose match. And Mariah May spent most of this match, or large portions of this match, outside the ring, just looking at her title. And in the end, she ends up knocking Yuka with that championship and then continued the attack. I really don't think that's how you build Yuka to be the next contender. I don't know when that match is going to be, but we also found out Mina Shirakawa announced that she's coming back to AEW. So maybe, even though it seems like she'll be there for Mariah May, maybe ultimately it leads to Mariah May facing Mina Shirakawa for that championship. You had the Bang Bang Gang pick up the victory over the Cage of Agony. There's nothing happened in this match. You don't need to speak about this. Main event saw FTR pick up the victory over the Grizzled Young Veterans. Very, very surprised that this wasn't on a pay-per-view or a Grand Slam or an episode of Dynamite. This was a good match. I feel like it should have gotten way more than it had. The hot tag spot was nice. The referee was distracted, so he didn't see Cash get tagged in. But Dax was able to escape the Grizzled Young Veteran shortly after that to get the tag. I had deja vu watching this, which was very weird because they've never actually wrestled a match. So I don't know what I was thinking during this, but Grizzled Young Veterans attacked FTR afterwards. The Outrunners made the save. Last week when I said that nobody should have won that tag team gauntlet, at this point, maybe the Outrunners should have. They might be the most over tag team in AEW right now, even though they're not built up to be tag team champions. But maybe the Outrunners should have won that match. Moving over to AEW Dynamite, it kicked off. Orange Cassidy picking up the victory over Chris Jericho. The Learning Tree got up on the apron. The Conglomeration got up on the apron. I think Ishii is just done right now. Summer's over, basically. So I think we're not seeing him anymore. But they get into the ring. Then they brawled out of the ring. They brawled later on in the match as well. The power slam spot from Chris Jericho, I think, was the best part of this match. Outside of that, I really, really wanted this match to end. There were a lot of distractions that went on in that finish. It was like a 25-minute match or something crazy like that. That's just completely unnecessary. Especially since it's Orange Cassidy, and every Orange Cassidy match is basically the same match. After that, Hook picked up the victory over JD Inc. Hook should be well beyond opponents like this. You had the Blackpool Combat Club make their entrance. Private Party challenged them to a match for the championships at Grand Slam next week. And during their entrance, they were advertising, we'll hear from Jon Moxley. Private Party attacked Blackpool Combat Club. They get shut down. Commander shows up to try to make the save. He gets shut down. And then Darby ran down and went face-to-face with Jon Moxley. Mox escaped before Darby could hit him. And Darby said that at Grand Slam, he's going to win. He's going to go on to Wrestle Dream. This match shouldn't be happening. After that, Ricochet picked up the victory over Black Taurus. Meaningless match. Black Taurus has lost almost every single match in AEW that he's had. This is nothing. It's absurd. And commentary said something about Black Taurus. Oh, he really knows how to turn a match in his favor. How? He loses all of his matches. Why should we care about Taurus? It's ridiculous. And then later on, Ricochet told Will Ospreay that they're going to wrestle at the 5-year anniversary show because beating Black Taurus, Sammy Guevara, who's really not been on TV, at least nothing meaningful. That Ring of Honor stuff to me is nothing because it's treated like nothing. And then Ricochet's other victories over Kyle Fletcher. So all of that, oh, Ricochet, build up your victories. Build up your wins. Here are your wins. Black Taurus never beats anybody. How is that something that, like, oh, here's a title shot? It's ridiculous. After that, Hangman came out, yelled a bunch, turned his focus to Tony Schiavone, and Jeff Jarrett made the save before anything could happen. They brawled, and then Triple J came out to cool Jeff Jarrett down and try to separate him from Hangman and just keep him backed up. Obviously, that match is taking place. When that's going to happen, I have no idea. And then the main event saw Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Takeshita pick up the victory over the Elite. I care about singles competition, Will Ospreay. Not tag team competition, Will Ospreay. And I care about singles competition, Takeshita. There was no control by the referee here. It was very chaotic. It does nothing for me. Next week, I'm sure the Young Bucks will win. I'm sure Ricochet will retain, even past that. We don't need matches like this chaotic. I really hope next week is very different. So, that's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brandon, got any shout-outs?
This is Droopy Dog, and you're listening to Brandon's Shoutouts.
The first shout-out goes to Only Murders in the Building, back for its 4th season. Eugene Levy, Ava Longoria, Zach Galifianakis are portraying the main characters, Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, in a movie. So they're featured in this season now. And they have other guest stars. It's really, I can't say enough how good this show is. It's one of the best shows in recent history. So if you're not watching Only Murders in the Building on Hulu, you either don't have time or you're just missing out big time.
Yeah, I always hear great things about the show. I just never have.
It's fantastic. Even that bit that they were doing at the Emmy Awards or something?
Yeah.
Every time you see Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez on TV together, it's like, it's gold.
Yeah, I've never had the time to watch the show, but I'm sure I would enjoy it. It was actually on my DVR, season 1, but I realized that I wouldn't have the patience or time to watch it, so I deleted it.
Well, if you have Hulu...
Nope.
There's a free trial, I'm sure, of Hulu.
Yeah, I'm sure.
My next shout out goes to How to Die Alone, which is also on Hulu. It's a brand new show. It was created by Natasha Rothwell, who stars in it. She, at one point, she wrote for Saturday Night Live for, I think, a season or so. But I first remember her from the show on HBO, Insecure. And then later on, she was on The White Lotus. This show basically follows a woman that works at JFK Airport. She has a near-death experience, and it leads to her life changing. And I think much like Only Murders in the Building, if this whole season was out, I probably would have been done with that. Because I like to binge watch TV shows. Mm-hmm. So it sucks having to wait weekly for new shows. Check it out. How to Die Alone. Tulsa King also gets a shout out. The first season came out in 2022 on Paramount Plus. Just recently started watching it. Have you heard anything about this show?
Oh, is that the one with the Sylvester Stallone?
It is. A second season is out now, and I wish, just like the other shows, I wish I'd have to wait 2 months before finishing it.
What is it about?
Sylvester Stallone stars in it as a mafia guy, recently released from prison, and he gets sent to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he starts his own criminal organization there. And I think everybody in this plays their part so well. So I would definitely check this out. I recommended this to my father. I think he would enjoy it too. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe I had not. I've been sitting on Paramount Plus. I've had an account or whatever, and I've never watched it. And then a friend of mine a few weeks ago said, "Oh, I'm watching Tulsa King. This is fantastic." And I decided to check it out. I was like, "Wow, this is a great show." So, check that out. I also wanted to give shout outs to Tito Jackson, who passed away this week at the age of 70, and JD Souther, who passed away at the age of 78. Two musicians in two totally different genres of music, but their contributions to music are not to be forgotten. Tito, obviously a huge part, a member of the Jackson 5. He was the guitarist, he did vocals for them. If you know the Jackson 5, they have hits ABC, I Want You Back, I'll Be There, so many more songs. JD had a lot of songs performed by other artists like the Eagles. They did Doolin Dalton of his, Heartache Tonight, Best of My Love, New Kid in Town, How Long. Linda Ronstadt and Glenn Campbell released versions of Faithless Love, which he wrote. He and James Taylor had the song Her Town too. And then he had a hit song, You're Only Lonely. So there's so many songs from both of these artists that hopefully you go out and check out this weekend. Take the time to look them up. So those are my shout outs. Now it's time for our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. What do you got?
Oh, I think it was probably the spots from that Strowman-Reed matchup. I totally marked out for that. I thought that it was incredible. A lot of fun to witness. So I'm going with that matchup. Oh, and that spear from Braun to Yeet. I thought that was awesome too.
Oh, and then him also doing the yeet afterwards.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, huge announcement this week. There were rumors circulating. They're bringing back Saturday night's main event, but it was announced that it's taking place at the Nassau Coliseum December 14th. Everybody on Twitter went nuts that they're using the original theme song. So I think that'll probably stick when we went to Saturday night's main event. Do you remember that at all or no?
I do not.
It was August 13th, 2007. It was Monday Night Raw and Saturday night's main event.
Huh.
That was the Saturday night's main event where we saw Evander Holyfield and Matt Hardy.
Was Cyndi Lauper there?
No.
Oh.
You don't remember Holyfield and Matt Hardy?
A little?
I took off of school. I called in sick to school to order those tickets when they went on sale.
Jeez.
But yeah, so I think that was the second to last Saturday night's main event. So I think it's awesome. I've been hoping the last Saturday night's main event was 2008.
That's crazy. I've never been big. Like, I have no connection to Saturday night main event.
Well, obviously you do. You were you were like 40 years old when you went, but
That's why I can barely remember it. I'm like 80 now.
I could give you the matches on that card, and they are out there.
What were the matches?
Batista and Kane picking up the victory over Finlay and the Great Khali. John Cena beating Carlito. Evander Holyfield and Matt Hardy. That ended in a no contest because MVP started yelling at Holyfield, and Holyfield knocked MVP out instead. And then the main event, I think, of that show was CM Punk and the Boogeyman defeating John Morrison and Big Daddy V.
That's so random.
Mm-hmm.
Boogeyman will never be over for me.
What?
I hate that. That gimmick is so...
You say this with weeks before Halloween?
Yeah, I think that... I mean, he's just famous because of the gimmick, but if he did it back in the 90s, he would have just fit in with Papa Shango.
I think Boogeyman's a great character. I don't know why Saturday night's main event hype turned into trashing Boogeyman. I disagree with that.
I'm just saying. Also, talking about trashing, that SmackDown theme song, because you wanted to mention the theme song. That SmackDown theme song is trash, garbage. I saw some mock-up videos of them using like the old school SmackDown songs, and some of them just work so well.
A lot of people, like, that turned into like a whole like you're racist sort of thing, and
No.
yeah, 100%.
Why?
And because
yeah,
I
we don't have to explain why, but that I think that's
with also I'm not, okay. First of all, there are definitely people who are racist about it, and there are definitely people who are sexist about it. I just don't think the song fits, and I would have been completely fine with another hip hop song.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have been. That's the thing. I haven't seen any of these things, so I don't understand how it could be viewed. I don't see how the video or the song can be I don't understand how you can say something that is sexist or racist about the song itself. I mean, it's just...
Well, it's more so about the artist. Some people had stupid takes where they're like, "Oh, hip-hop has never had anything to do with pro wrestling," or something like that. And it's like, what, are you stupid?
How not?
Like, how dumb are you? You don't even have to, like, list the ways. John Cena...
Yeah,
was,
thugonomics.
Like, you're dumb.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you could say Snoop Dogg, but he's the best like this, that. It's like, no, hip-hop has very much so always been tied to pro wrestling. Just because WWE and the 80s or whatever had the rock and wrestling connection, that's like one of the big things where everybody hates the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they have hip-hop artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And to me, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is not specifically just rock and roll. Rock and roll is more than a genre, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would definitely be down with a different hip hop song for a theme song. I just feel like this song, to me, it's I do think it's
there are other songs from Megan Thee Stallion that I think could fit as a theme song, but I understand, well, fit in some sense. I mean, obviously there's like the uppityness of the songs I feel like could fit. The lyrics might not. But I feel like WWE, this was just a brand new song that WWE was able to get. And then there's that other side. Mercedes Moné thinks that WWE has sabotaged her or whatever because she was maybe going to do stuff with Megan Thee Stallion in AEW. Like, there's like so many. This caused a huge rift in the IWC and everything.
I mean, I am not a fan of the song at all. That's why I say what I say. I'd be open to a different song, whether it's rap, rock, Nickelback, Megan Thee Stallion, whatever. It doesn't matter to me as long as it just fits.
Like when I tweeted it out, even when Collision, they debut and their theme song is Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by Elton John. I was like, this doesn't fit.
Yeah.
This isn't good. Like, the song is great. But whatever. So, I think it's unfortunate that it turned into the talk that it turned into. But as far as actual markout moments of the week, I'm going to continue it. Because the DLC pack for WWE 2K24 that I spoke about last week came out this week. We got a bunch of cool new moves, but I popped big time that you could pull Dragon Lee's knee pad down during the match, like you could do with some of the singlets already. I really feel like they could have done this with Angel Garza and the pants that he wears, or used to do. He used to like rip the pants off, but that never made it into a game, so that was unfortunate, but I popped that we had that. I think this pack, it's like, after that Pat McAfee and Friends pack, it's like a breath of fresh air. We have actual, like, obviously their theme songs are there. We have their Trons and stuff, actual moves. The last pack was like 13 new moves or whatever. This, I think they said, have over like 75 new moves or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thankful that we have this. I think outside of that, the hairstyle that they chose for Jade Cargill, like I said last week, I think that's this pack is great. I think she's fun to play with. Kyrie is awesome. I'm glad she's back in the game. I can go on and on. So, and Carlito, you could actually bite the apple and spit it in your opponent's face and control that. So, bless them for doing that. Those are the Mark Out moments of the week. That is episode 711. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/MarkinOut, YouTube and Instagram are MarkinOut11. You can like our videos over there. That'd be great. ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut. Check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube. You can listen, like I said. Rate, review, and subscribe. That would greatly help us out. We would appreciate that. Follow us at Markin Out on TikTok. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week.